So hello and welcome back. So in this video we are doing this example related to exponential functions. I have been saying polynomial functions for such a long time. I was doing a course on polynomial functions, and so now I have to think a little bit before I can say exponential functions. So the question is, David earns $24,000 in salary in the first year he works as an interpreter. Each year he earns a 3.5% raise. Write a function that gives David salary s of t in dollars t years after he starts to work as an interpreter. So to understand the nature of the problem, it's always beneficial to form a table. Of course, this is a simple case, and from the nature of the case you can tell that it's an exponential function, but it doesn't hurt to create a table first. So here you have t in years and s of t in dollars. And so in the first year basically means that t is equal to 0, or t in years is equal to 0, because when 1 year has passed, basically you can write t is equal to 1. Otherwise, if 1 year has not passed yet, then still t is equal to 0. You are in the first year. And then your s of t, your salary in the first year, was $24,000. $24,000. And then David earns a 3.5% raise each year. So that basically means each successive year you're earning $3,500 on the amount of salary that you had the year before. So that means that when t is equal to 1, after 1 year, you have 24,000 times 1.035. So this is 3.5% increase. And of course we have talked about this, but we can basically see how we got to this 1.035. So if you have any amount, let's call it x, and if you want to increase it by 3.5%, you add 3.5% of x to x. So it is basically x times 3.5%, or 3.5 divided by 100. So you can take an x out, factor an x out, and you will be left with 1 plus 3.5 by 100. And then you can rewrite this as you can write 1 as 100 by 100, so that you can simplify this whole expression. 3.5 by 100, and then this becomes 103.5 divided by 100. This whole thing becomes 103.5 by 100. And x times this, so then 103.5 divided by 100, you have to move the decimal place 2 positions to the left. So it comes over here and here, so it becomes 1.035. So x times 1.035. So any amount, you want to increase it by 3.5%. You multiply that amount by 1.035. 1.035, and that's how basically you get this number. So that's that. So basically in the first year you have 24, your salary in the first year, or at the end of the first year, let's say, you have 24,000 times 1.035. In the second year, or in the end of the second year, in the end of the second year means right here, you have the same salary, 24,000 times 1.035, and then you have to increase this by again 3.5%, so times 1.035. So you can see that in the nth, or in the teeth year, after t years, you have 24,000 times 1.035 raised to the teeth power, because here you are raising 1.035 to the second power. You have two factors. Here you have one factor, so you raise it to the first power, and here you raise 1.035 to the 0th power, which becomes 1, and then 1 times 24,000 is simply 24,000. So basically that's the equation that you needed, the function, which is s of t, which is equal to 24,000 times 1.035 raised to the teeth power. Now it's important to understand how you came up with this function and what it represents and what the output actually means. So that means what I mean is that if you put basically t is equal to 5 and you calculate s of 5, which is equal to, for example, 24,000 times 1.035 raised to the 5th power, that means this is the salary, this is David's salary after the end of the, let me see. So if t is equal to 0, that means you're in the first year. If t is equal to 1, you are in the second year, not 2 complete years have passed yet. So if t is equal to 5, you are in the, if t is equal to 0, you're in the first year. So if t is equal to 5, then you're in the 4th year. So this is David's salary in the 4th year, or another way to say that is that you could say David's salary after 3 complete years have passed. Because when t is equal to 0, you are in the first year. So when t is equal to 1, you are in the second year. So, oh, I'm sorry, you are here in the I made a mistake here. I did make a mistake here, I'm sorry. So when t is equal to 0, you are in the first year. So when t is equal to 5, you are in the 6th year. or after, or another way, after 5 complete years have passed. So basically you need to understand what your input and your output represent. That's basically this whole problem. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.